What do you think about these guys like Khamzat that came in and he's had a few fights, but has such good promise and became a superstar so fast? And what do you think about his fight coming up with Leon Edwards?
Um, I mean, yeah, obviously, dude is super impressive, man. The Chechen, Dagestani dudes are, super dominant. They're very. I know you've trained with those guys. Just their base, probably their background, just the way that they're raised, man. They're super tough. And then you throw them in like a real quality training camp, and they excel. I'm happy for the guy, man. He's a hell of a fighter. Obviously, he's able to move divisions. He's had 3 fights yet now, or two fights.
Well, I know he's had like two within like 10 days or something like that. So he's definitely had two. I think he's had like three. And then this is going to be his biggest test, obviously, with Leon Edwards. So this is the one where people are like, if you beat Leon Edwards, obviously he's going to live up to the hype and be the next big superstar. But Leon Edwards is also a big fight for him. I mean, that's a tough fight. So it's going to be interesting to see, the hype versus the legitimacy.
Sure, man. I wouldn't doubt that Khamzat comes out and makes it look easy. Honestly,
Really?
With his wrestling ability, I think that there's levels. There's levels to all that.
How do you think that plays a role? Like being so experienced as you are, when people have, not only is he really good, we can definitely say that, even though he hasn't fought per se a really top ranked guy. How important do you think it is, or how much of a role do you think it is when these guys come out that have so much hype? I mean, do people put them on pedestals more? And do you think he could possibly get in Leon Edwards' head and get a worse fight out of Leon Edwards because he's got so much hype and because he's got, like Conor kind of proved? I think Conor won at least a couple of the fights that he won easier because of that hype. I mean, he had their heads going all different ways, and he was getting so hyped. And when you looked across and saw Conor McGregor, it's like seeing a whole different person than a normal opponent. You think it plays a role in this fight and other fights? Do you think that hype is kind of a factor in the fight as well?
I think it can be, depending on who the opponent is. I don't see that with Leon Edwards. I think Leon Edwards is a gamer, and I don't think that he's looking to spoil the party. But I don't. With some of the guys, like with Conor and with Chimaev, it's not just hype. Like they have serious skill. So I think more. I would say that the belief in himself, momentum, that plays a big part in all of it, more so than maybe the effect that it has on the opponent.
Yeah, the reason I asked and didn't compare quite with Conor is Conor has the hype, but has already proved the ability. Khamzat hasn't yet. So I was just kind of wondering what your thoughts were, just, because he is kind of going on just hype, considering he hasn't beat that top level guy, though he has showed very credible skills, which you can do against low level guys, but you can also do against high level guys, as Conor showed. So it is kind of one of those situations where Leon's going to face, pretty much kind of more just hype than anything at this stage until it gets proven. But you're right. I agree with you. Leon's a tough guy, and it seems like he's motivated as hell. First of all, hats off to him for stepping up and fighting a fight like this against a guy with hype and not a high ranking. And number two, he is a gamer. He's going to bring it to him, and he's a great fighter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. I just think that Khamzat's skills and just his skill set translates. Like it's like whether it's a top guy or like whoever it is, wherever they stand in the rankings, they translate. He's got that ability like Khabib does to just dominate in that in that aspect of the game that is is crucial, right? If you can dominate somebody in the wrestling game, you have a really, really good foundation.